All right, folks, we're back. Thank you for watching that commercial break. We are going to be getting into the grand finals here in just a moment. I did the math while we were on break. I know exactly how much money's on the line. I want to actually tell the players before we go. Because the winner gets... for 1,419 USD. Loser gets 344 USD. Just a 5. Good luck. Oh boy, that's a lot of money. I think in every way that I can imagine, this has got to be like a solar series. This has got to be like a giant solar donation that's about to happen. But Hush did surprise us once already versus Super, so maybe he can do it again versus Solar.
Yeah, maybe. He oh god, I got like a frog in my throat.
So I gotta put this on stream. I told Solar before we go here about the prize money, and he's just like, still increasing? Boys, please save StarCraft 2 esports. Go donation.
Yeah, he just assumes he's gonna get the money.
He just wants to. You know what? This isn't even cute anymore. Solar, you're so greedy. You need to learn some hubris, man. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. But right, so I do feel like Solar's still gonna at least like 3-1, if not 3-0, but Hush was surprisingly strong.
I'm so dumb. I just said hubris. I meant humility. English is a hell of a thing. But you're right. I still, like, in every esports bone in my body says this should be a Solar series, but maybe there'll be an upset. We'll talk more in a moment. Let's get these player introductions in the top right. Here in the grand finals, a best of 5, no longer best of 3s. The blue Zerg player, Solar.
In the bottom left, as the red Protoss, he is Dust's Hush.
Hush is certainly the underdog, to say the least, coming into these finals, but a fair amount of money nonetheless. So again, for those who might just be watching the VOD, I'm not sure if this gets kept in or cut out. Joey does a great job doing YouTube, but I don't watch any of it because we already cast it. So,
right?
Assuming that the information beforehand wasn't in the VOD, there is currently $2,150 raised for today's prize pool, thanks to you folks who are generous, crazy sons of guns, helped us pump this up. I really want to give one last big shout out to both Gyokaruga and Messin, both tied for that top donator spot, $800 apiece. Too much money, but a great amount for StarCraft. And of course, as I'm saying this, fucking Incorruptible Lizard comes in out of nowhere, the $72 donation, so it's still increasing. Everybody must say cheese. Cheese. But regardless of what this final 2222, that's why I did that number, because now this is $2,222. Regardless of what the final prize pool ends up being, thank you guys for helping us make something so great out of what is just a once-off weekly cup. It's so cool. It's so awesome to see.
Yeah. I really did not expect this when I got the cast today.
No. We're like, it's during IEM. Like, we debated even if, like, we wanted to cancel this one. Nah, I'm really glad we went through with it.
Yeah, exactly. People are still hungry for the Koreans, I guess.
I've been very insistent, too, on showing you guys the reactions of the players. Like, Solar's obviously hamming it up. He's funny, and he gets the game at this point. But a lot of people in Korea genuinely do not, like, crowdfunding is such a weird thing. And it's not something I ever thought. It's just, it's been so intuitive and built into our lives that it's weird to consider that they not only don't prefer it, but they don't use it. So when you see, like, how happy they are to see this prize money, like Sue's reaction, like, he didn't realize he was getting $190 for, like, 4th place in the tournament. Like, they're ecstatic, guys.
Yeah.
If they had better English and Twitter addictions, I'm sure you'd see lots of reactions.
I like, you know who I expected... So there's a couple of Koreans that you expect to, like, you know, get Twitter and then, like, be, like, you know, friendly with their fans and just, like, they're going to be pretty good. You know, the ones who already have a good personality, or an open personality, rather. Like Solar. I really didn't expect Stats to start trying really hard.
Oh, Stats' interview that came out, too? I read that. Well, the translated version. We're assuming it's the correct translation.
Okay. But yeah, Stats, like, I feel like he's been trying to... He certainly tried to speak English to me when we were talking, and he's, like, asked questions, and he, like, followed me on Twitter, and he seems to be, like, wanting to use it more, and he did that interview, and he's, like, talking about foreign teams, and I'm just like, I actually would have pinned Stats as one of those guys just kind of fade into obscurity, to be honest. Like, sad as
Yeah.
that might be to say, but no, he's actually trying, and that's really cool to see. Because even if his English sucks, if he's really earnest, it's 1,000% more appealing, especially to the more casual fans. So, just a thought I've had recently. No bearing, of course, on this game, other than I guess it's a little sad that Stats didn't sign up. Classic almost did.
Well, Stats has actually signed up and played in a couple things at this point, but
Yeah.
I think for them, like when I messaged Jockshi earlier today and asked him to sign up, he didn't even know. So that's kind of the problem. Like, I don't have everybody's Skype contact in Korea. I think we have contacts, 2 other contacts who would know how to contact them type thing. Like I could ask Frank or otherwise, but these folks don't know, and I can't really go message them easily. But the nice thing about them getting on Twitter and starting to be a little bit more active with their streaming is it's a better way for me to contact them too and be like, look, playing the thing today, man. Jockshi streamed his matches. It's probably great for his stream. It would have been great if he had won, obviously. But a lot of it is just like, these guys are totally willing to play. They want to play some StarCraft.
Yeah. Well, this game has been pretty normal, passive. It's a whirlwind game, and Solar didn't really try a ton of like sneaky things. Hush opened up with that Stargate, which is a pretty damn safe opener most of the time. And even though the third base can be tricky sometimes on Whirlwind, it's like kind of a odd path to get there and protect it. Once it's up and running, you now have ramps to use defensively if you know where their army is, so it's usually pretty solid. And so all the production's starting to kick in. You know, we have Solar choosing to go for, apparently, melee upgrades with Roaches and Banelings, and Hush going for the Gateway Explosion with Resonating Glaives and a Warp Prism. And this is only off of 3 gases. It's going to be a total of 5, 8? I don't actually want to count. I always like start counting as they're finishing, so I have to constantly go between production and structures, and I'm like, why do I do this to myself? It's going to be 8 gateways total. And it's going to be like a lot to deal with, and Solar's only just getting his production tools, like his tech structures. His Baneling's only just finished, his Roach one only just finished.
Yeah. Roachborn at a very odd location, I guess, is worth discussing, but PvC is kind of at this point nowadays where, like, if you lose your third base, everything else is soon to crumble in underneath it, so putting it the third versus the main, not the biggest deal. That bit thing got really delayed. We have had B-Man, of course, donate a couple just now, or cheer a little bit, but we also had Breakfast TV give us an animated Kriegasm emote. Stasis Trap going down right on top of the army, but gets focused immediately. It's only stealth once it's finished. Banelings ram into the wrong adept. Oh no, this is going badly for Solar. This is going really badly for Solar.
There's a couple of cool things from Hush, to be honest. The stasis traps were cool, but also there was some really good, like, micro that wasn't extreme. He just kind of pulled back slightly. That's always sounded like a good player. And he is definitely making this all in look good. He hasn't done enough damage, though, yet. So, as good as it looks initially, it really has to still snowball and get into every single mineral line, or else Solar will get to just too much army, counterattack, and win. It's still not getting into the drone. Like, it's literally in the drone lines, I suppose, but the Spine Crawler is taking too many of the shots. And this is just, like, it started out kind of, like, fancy looking with the stasis traps and the micro, but it did not do what it was supposed to. And Hush is going to fall flat in his face whenever Solar collects himself.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that Solar's putting down a macro hatchery, he's really going to be able to pick up production, if production even ends up being the issue. But he's got so many drones to work with. Money should be abundant.
I think he over-droned, not because he felt so confident, but maybe because he thought at least 10 drones went down. Because that's usually the case.
That's
like,
actually,
when a dev gets somewhere, you're supposed to lose at least a couple, but he lost none.
He was preemptively replacing them.
Exactly, that's how you win the game. You just keep making the drones big.
Well, some more bits coming in through cheers. Thank you, Breakfast TV, and thank you to Phoenix19 for the 300 bits. Love your stream. Keep up the good work. I know, I was about to read as like Fenwyx. Alright, so the Adepts split, and this actually starts getting a couple drone kills, but between the odd Spine Crawler here and the Roaches down here, and another Spine Crawler even, it looks like Solar's actually pretty well defended. The Spine Crawler is actually a huge part of this. It's not going to wreck the Adepts, but Solar can no longer rely, excuse me, Hush can no longer rely on auto attacks. They will be driven towards the Spine Crawlers. So I think this is a worthwhile investment in every base. It looks a little bit odd, you know, who puts one spine in each mineral line, but if you're worried about adepts, I think it's the right move. Now Solar, as you said, when he finally got to collect himself, up to like 73 army supply, upgrades looking good, bailing speed, plus the little bit of extra health, finishing up soon, he's looking fantastic. And 4 bases with too many drones, of course.
Yep. Hush's plan was not a bad one. That attack has just simply looked like stupidly good in the past, but he really did not touch enough of the drone line. Because even if they are prepared and they have an army, it's really about stopping them from killing the drones, and a spine crawler is what really helps with that.
Yeah. I love that Breakfast TV, I just realized, is slowly cycling through all the animated emotes. So there's another one. Ah! This attack in the middle, though, could be a little bit awkward. He is off of creep after all, and force fields can be devastating. But with Ravagers out, at least he has the means to break them.
Well, this is just... I mean, this is Hush trying to look threatening, it feels. Like
He's like puffing up his chest, like...
Yeah. I swear I got an army, man. It's not even like upgraded army. It's terrible.
The +2 melee is actually going to be massive, not just for the Lynx, but also, of course, the Banelings. If they get to squeeze into anything, a lot more damage coming in. A lot of them wasted on the Immortals on the right side. The Force Field's trying to keep everything at bay, but he breaks through. Finally connects to the Adepts at the back. Full surround, and that's it for Hush. The army is dead. GG!
All right.
I like, by the way, the Swift Rage 100 looks like he's saying 100 Adepts, so he says 100 more Adepts. I love the little animated cheers. They're cool. I hope they'll let us customize some of our own possibly, but we are going to go to a commercial break, folks. Do stick around. We'll see you in 2 minutes for game number 2. All right, we're back. And, of course, if you guys were listening, you heard the beeps, so you know we're loading into the game. It's still the finals. It's still a best of 5. The only difference is Solar is currently leading 1-0. Spine on the south side of the map, though. Looking for that comeback. Looking for that game number 2 win. It's going to be the blue Protoss player, Hush.
In the top position as the red Zerg, he is Solar.
So I would like to, once again, just draw some quick attention through the pause to our exclamation mark giveaway command in chat. Just type giveaway, guys, and it'll give you a link. I know it's going to spam. I'm sorry. 100 of you are going to type this. I'm an idiot. But when the bot calms down and finally is able to write, please do me a favor and hit the giveaway link. Go ahead and enter into the giveaway. Right now, we're still trying to secure more prizes from our sponsors if we can. But we got some really cool ones. Like, for example, everybody who enters or has a chance to win, if you're the top 3 people drawn, you will get guaranteed a Ting t-shirt. Hype represents some Ting. Shoutouts to Neve. Then you will also get your pick of one of the 3 items that are currently listed: a Yord watch code, a couple pop vinyl figurines, or Corsair Void wireless headset. I'm talking to Corsair, and it's looking like they're going to give us the option to add in pretty much anything we want there too. So maybe a keyboard, maybe a mouse. Not promising anything too soon. But basically, if you win that giveaway, there will be a list for you to select from. You will have your choice of whatever you'd like on that list. First come, first serve type thing. So if we only have 2 keyboards, for example, and you're the 3rd guy to ask for the keyboard because you got the email late or something, then you're probably SOL. But lots of good prizes on that list nonetheless. Also, I guess just as a quick note, speaking of the Yord watch code, if you guys didn't see, we finally beat our goal for the Yord tournament stuff. So we raised $1,000 over there too, on top of the money from today. That's so much good StarCraft 2 funding. I'm excited for more.
Well, the causes, I don't know, but the map was chosen by Hush, and I don't know exactly why you wanted to choose Van Eye. It's usually pretty easy 3 bases, but the 3rd base can be hard to defend. We've actually been seeing a lot of carriers on this map, and a lot of like mass cannons to help those carriers, but we don't know enough about Hush to say if he likes that or not.
Carriers are, without a doubt, the hot topic in this particular matchup right now. It's funny because it shifted heavily from the Hydras being way too OP with 7 range to, okay, carriers are maybe a little bit broken. TLO actually brought up an interesting point I don't necessarily agree with, but he brought up a point saying, like, what do carriers really add to the game? Is the dynamic? Do people like it? I'm paraphrasing. It should read his Twitter, get his own words, but it did get me thinking, like, we wanted for so long to see something like the Battlecruiser finally come out into play. And it was really cool because now that it does, it's got all these cool abilities. But carriers are at their core like an A-move unit now. There's not a lot of micro that goes down with them. You can't control the interceptors really, even if you wanted to. So I am curious, like, if you were to like axe the carrier or nerf it to irrelevance, what does Protoss do? Is it so bad to not have the Golden Armada to fall back to? We don't exactly see a high percentage of games that get to that point, but I will say almost every game we've seen go to like quote-unquote Golden Armada status, it seems impossible for the Zerg to beat. What do you think?
I don't. Is it unbeatable?
I mean,
like, do I think they have another choice? Like,
when it's like 13 Void Rays, 5 carriers, 4 Tempest, 5 Golden Rings, and a mothership. It seems like at that point, there's just nothing the Zerg can do. Fungals, parasitic bombs, ducks, like they never seem to be enough.
I guess, like, it really is convincing only, like, when there's, like, the High Templars, too, yeah, but I don't know. We've talked about this, right, where, like, my feelings are usually, like, when they have everything in the end, it does look to be, like, PC, like, extremely tough for the Zerg, but I don't know if it's quite unbeatable.
Yeah, I guess in fairness, the games haven't, until more recent days, gotten to that turtle point where you get there so quickly.
So, well, yeah, plus there's just, like, there still isn't that many, too. Like, of all the games we cast, or they catch a PVZ, and then the PVZs, if they catch, like, a good day with, like, carriers don't just die to a Hydra Bust, which, by the way, if Hush tries to do the carrier thing, I think he will just die to Solar's Hydra Bust. Hydra on the brain. So that to say that, like, it's super impossible, I know, like, asking Zergs, they'll say it's super impossible, yeah, but I don't know if it's actually an impossible composition to beat. I do think you need to play one of those, like, super long games, though, where you have, like, a ton of bank. But, I don't know, maybe Snoot would disagree, you know?
That game, man. Final Angel, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Nice to have you on board. Also, the overlay was wrong, guys. I said best of 3, now it says best of 5. This is the finals. It is a best of 5, and we got a couple more games still ahead of us. Thank you for letting me know, though, chat. Banling Nest kicks up here for Solar. It's not going to be too bad to have Banlings at any point. Even though your opponent might be opening Phoenix, and hell, might even be gearing towards Mass Phoenix. Banlings are still going to be really nice additions to the army to deal with the Adepts that will surely be underneath them.
Yeah. Sometimes they even do a good job taking out the cannons. This is what another option could be. Who was it we were casting that got to mass cannons and wasn't quite enough? I think it was European. Like Showtime? It was Showtime. Yeah. I don't know where it was facing, but the cannons are usually like a really instrumental part to just surviving until that, like, maybe unbeatable late game. And the Banelings can help actually take them out, but also the Adepts, so. There's the Hydra's Den, though, which is, of course, key, facing things that just in the air. And it is going to be 4 bases, 4 high. Damn, now I got Hydra stuck in the brain.
I know.
4 bases for Solar and 3 bases for Hush.
Too many Hydras on your brain. You are infested at this point. We got a little bit of a mini sub-train going on right now. Corn's Champion just subbed brand new, and so did Breakfast TV after stretching his legs with all those cheer motes. Thank you so much, you guys, all for coming to the channel. Of course, for those who don't know, the benefits to Base Trade TV, there's a couple cool nerdy things here and there, but we do send replay packs out to our subs. So if you want replays from today, for example, check your inbox a little bit later after the tournament's concluded. I wonder if this is totally relevant. I wonder if you can Graviton beam up critters. I've never tried, and I've never thought to try. Surely you must be able to, right?
I don't think you can.
Oh, this needs tested. Phoenix are going to lift up the Hydras, but of course, normally when you pounce on top of Hydras, you've got enough Phoenix to outnumber and bully them down so quick they don't have a chance to fight back. The weird spread out of Solar ended up picking off one of the Phoenix right away, though. And that's not enough to like, you need an exact amount of Phoenix to one-shot a Hydra, and unfortunately, no longer has that number.
Well, the Void... Wait.
3 Void Rays at a time.
Yeah, Void Rays. I was gonna bring up the Void Rays, but I was like checking. So Hush did get a full scout basically on everything. And he saw the Hydralisk Den. I mean, Void Rays aren't bad to have just in general, but it is like a little bit scary to go for them first when you know that there's going to be more Hydras than anything else. If you see a Spire, then I think you're going to have to start the Void Ray count, but I'm surprised he even goes for 3 more Void Rays, still seeing that it's nothing but Hydras.
I mean, I'm still convinced that Void Rays are the best, like even better than Carriers and Tempest in a lot of regards, especially when it comes to fighting ground. The thing is, Hydras are not really the counter to the Void Rays, and they haven't consistently been for like 2 expansions up to this point. Void Rays just have a lot of damage regardless of whether it's armored or not. And on top of that, you've got a couple of force fields, you've got adepts. Everything in this army can cream this Ling Hydra composition.
Mm-hmm. Actually, have we seen people go for the shield upgrade yet?
You know what?
We've, of course, seen the air upgrades, but not about the shield.
Oh, the armor, too. Well, I was going to say, the shields in general are great. It'll benefit both air and ground units. But you're right. He's actually investing in armor, too. So he really wants to reduce the damage coming in from those Hydras. We got Walgren78 asking about the VOD for this. If you guys don't know, if you go to our video tab here on Twitch, if you're subscribed, you can have access to all the VODs of all the videos of all the things we've ever done. Otherwise, everything's up for free for everybody else on YouTube within like a day or two. Now this attack commences. The overcharge was not ready to pop off. There's actually a lot of Banelings waiting to roll into those adepts. This is where force fields become super important.
Yeah, I'm just so surprised that Hush is going mass Void Ray. It's officially mass Void Ray at this point, not anything to do with carriers. So
I like it.
Force fields.
Oh, but this is
come down.
So the force fields don't go down, which was unfortunate, but he also lost the Guardian Shield. Guardian Shield would reduce the Hydra damage by insane amounts. Lifts these up, though, and as we can see, Void Rays are still really good fighting units. Takes a pretty good fight here versus Solar. Loses all of his ground, which really sucks, and of course lost the momentum to get that 4th base, so it doesn't exactly come out amazing for this. But the fact that he just took a fight versus Hydras is huge. Now, I'm starting to see the gears turning here for Hush, right? If you get +1 Plasma Shield, you've got the armor on the Void Rays, you've got Guardian Shield on top of all of that. Hydra damage is reduced by like 4 at that point, right? Dealing 12 damage a shot, still a lot. But you take a lot of the wind out of their sails by having that much defensive stuff.
Stuff.
So I was going to say capabilities, but is armor a capability? Like, I actually mid-sentence was like, wait a minute. Does that count?
Well, the first attack didn't entirely kill Hush, which is always a little bit worrying, you know? Like, if the Hydra Buzz does its job, then great, game over. You don't have to worry about the late game, but if it doesn't quite, and it also doesn't completely fail either, so no one's really in a definite lead, I still would put the Protoss a little bit ahead, actually. Even though Solar can remax pretty quickly, and his Hydra is still pretty good. Hush is now not only adding on his Void Rays that he's missing, but now he's adding on some tech and a 4th base. Now, if Solar can still deny the 4th base, then actually Solar's probably still in a good position. But I don't know if he's going to. He might be waiting for his Infestors, he may be waiting for his upgrades, and Hush might have charge lots to add in on that ground factor. And just a lot of Void Rays. Just, you know, goal number 1, apparently. Maybe even Storm. You start Storm now, get a Chrono Boost on that.
Well, okay, so Storm's going to be useful for the area of effect. You know, blanket the Hydras, blanket the Lings. But I really like the Templar potential here for the feedbacks. You catch those Infestors, a Fungal Growth isn't going to kill the Void Rays. But, you know, and it's being overlooked right now, Fungal Growth with some Corrosive Biles I think would be way more effective than the Hydras, to be completely honest. Play it like that sort of Terran style, right? These units do clump up pretty notoriously, as we can see right now, even as he's just posturing around.
Yeah. It's actually something I've thought about, especially when it comes to mass Void Rays. Carriers are a little bit different, and actually pretty different. Because carriers are still kind of fat, to be honest. Even if they do occasionally clump up. I know. But Corrosive Biles really would just be like... This is what we saw back when Vipers was still very good, when the Parasitic Bomb was still really good. We would see Fungal Parasitic Bomb, which would usually kill anything anyway, but then on top of that, occasionally we'd see like Corrosive Biles come down. And it was just like, well, there's no getting out of that. Where no one's really been going Ravagers against late game Protoss, and I'm sure there's a reason, but
yo, we never get to see this dynamic. I'm sorry, I got to interrupt because normally +2 melee Lings one-shot probes, but they actually have a shield upgrade. Is this enough to live through one Baneling hit now? Nope. Rip pepperonis.
You're so excited.
I was, because I wasn't sure if it would be enough. We never see this dynamic ever in the matchup. Normally it's just completely upgrade less probes versus +2 Banelings. And this one is going on quite the wild journey.
Scouting. Oh, okay, this is something I didn't expect to see in this game. But
Lurkers.
makes sense. Yeah, lurkers. I mean, they don't suicide like banelings would, because banelings would take out the charge lots, and that's easy peasy. But they also would potentially die to the storms. Well, actually, how would that end up work? They might die to storms if the charge lots don't rush in, I suppose. But you can't really get the storms on top of the lurkers. So the lurkers are sturdier. They got range. They don't have to suicide. Actually, a pretty good answer. And with 10 of them, you're gonna do some pretty significant splash damage.
Concern is, though, lurkers in no way, shape, or form shoot up, and they get wrecked by Void Rays prismatically aligned. So
yeah, well,
you know a lot of limitations here. Fleet Beacon kicks up.
Yeah, okay, so he's finally get to carriers, I suppose. But you know what else gets like absolutely wrecked by Void Rays?
Everything.
Corruptors. The Corruptors. So the Spires kind of. What is his ultimate goal?
I like the Vipers actually a lot more. I think Abducts picking out the Void Rays one at a time are going to be far more effective. Obviously going to be difficult though, because there are still those Templar underneath. The same feedback warning is still going to go.
Yeah, that I don't know how effective that's going to be. The Vipers, sometimes they can just out micro the Protoss player and just catch the feedbacks too far away type deal, but it's difficult. We do have carriers now on the way.
So I mean, this is kind of funny.
Mass Raiders worked first.
Right. Normally it's carriers into the Void Rays. The Void Rays is more of a response than as a preemptive attack. But charge lots over here aren't looking too bad. Lurkers should eventually clean all this up. The carriers are going to add a very interesting dynamic to this, where there's still a lot of Hydras, and Hydras are actually not bad against carriers. They're not good against Void Rays, but they're pretty good versus carriers, funny enough. Also, let's not forget, with all of the infestors out, fungal growths can shut down interceptors. We actually had a pretty big discussion the other day on stream. I think it was like last week or the week before, where the idea is like you freeze all the interceptors for like only 6 seconds or whatever, but in that time period, you can just kind of walk into the carriers and focus them down.
Well, it is. The mothership is just something that seemed to be growing as like an actual like super important mainstay unit that you need to get almost immediately too. For what we've been seeing of the most abusive carrier builds, but again, the whole Void Ray first or the mass Void Ray first is not something we've seen from other Protosses if they do go this style. So mothership, I think, is actually like really super good tool, and I'm just a little surprised it took 15 minutes to get there, but maybe you just don't need them if you don't have the carriers too.
Well, that's a lot of banelings, and up to this point, cannons have been doing a good job distracting, deterring. Interceptors are going to try their best to help out here, but baneling's going to roll in, looking for those probe kills, and those mineral lines are stacked up, actually.
Not bad. Lings swoop in too, and they might be able to kill a couple of buildings. Do they have adrenal glands? Yes, they do.
Actually, if these depower these Stargates, yeah, that's 2 Stargates getting shut down.
But they're almost, they're so close to max, both of them, and Hush is a good army supply. I don't think Solar can actually take advantage of this.
Well, so this
but if he gets a couple more in.
This is what I love, though, because we talked about this, right? We're going to hit this point where Hush might be at that quote-unquote perfect golden armada. You add in a couple of cannons underneath this, more Templar for storms, and this is an army that has, in records of past, been untouchable. Oh no. Oh no.
Okay, this is starting to really add up now, though.
It is, but this is adding up on top of the fact that he just went for Nidus Worm, and I'm wondering if Solar's point here is he knows he can never fight this army directly, so he'll try and constantly go around it. Nidus the natural, Nidus over here, bailing run-bys. I mean, down to 17 probes.
Yeah.
Hush doesn't have really money to make more probes with, even.
Yeah, I mean, people were probably saying this is what, like, Hyun did. I would also say this is what Snoot was definitely missing in that one game against Neve. He was occasionally doing some drops, as far as I remember, but he never really did a full-on Nidus Storm attack. Well,
we talked about that too, though, because Neve actually had cannons, like, in his main and in his natural, and literally all over the map.
After a while, yeah.
But as the Lurkers come out, they're going to chew down the buildings. Fleet Beacon goes down. Hope,
okay, more probes went down. Like, oh my god, Hush just needs to, like, spend, like, 2... Oh my god.
There's no follow-up, though. There's no parasitic bombs coming in. The Vipers were rushing back home. Here go those parasitic bombs. I don't know if this will be enough damage. Void Rays have a lot of health. They can tank a lot of hits. He splits them out as far as he can. Lots of damage going on these Void Rays, but they're still standing. They're not quite dead yet.
but they're so injured. The
But
Hydralisk
what's here to
army-
kill? 30
Oh,
Corruptors.
the Corruptors! Oh my God.
Okay, but I don't know, because the thing is,
Yeah,
Archons
right?
and Void Rays can still tear through Corruptors like a hot knife through butter, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm still a little suspicious.
Plus
But
there's gonna be
usually 30 Void Rays-
storms.
30 Corruptors should be able to do it. Unfortunately, 7 of them or so are coming out of this hatchery. Not really going to help
Oh,
too much.
feels bad, man.
But,
Meanwhile,
I mean, this was probably the best option. Oh my God, Solar had. You know what? Because it's fucking like L names.
yeah, but
All right, like, I'm
he's
looking
gone.
at the.
He's gone full base trade. They've both gone full base trade. If you guys haven't started typing Ace 1, Ace 2 in chat, you gotta
Yeah,
do it
right.
now, because that's where we're at. Solar's looking for building kills. Hush is looking to do whatever he can, frankly. But I think even with a massive amount of Corruptors, like, this is the perfect response to the Carriers, not the Void Rays.
Well,
I don't know if these will get the job done. But with so many Spore Crawlers in this base and a defensive setup that Solar is looking like he wants to just turtle at the gold for, it might not be too bad. I mean, the Void Rays will eventually get whittled down. There's no questioning that.
I don't think what Solar should do, or what he's gonna do, hopefully. I don't think he's gonna just go in and hope that A move wins. I think the Corruptors can potentially snipe a Mothership. She's just a little bit behind the Void Rays. It'll be worth the snipe.
Actually, you know
couple
what?
Carriers too.
Normally the Mothership, when it gets abducted, is immediately recalled to safety. Hush has... Oh, he's still got one Nexus. He's almost got no Nexus remaining, though.
Well,
Oh, this Circus
Solar
and-
can't get abducts anymore anyway. He's not Vipers, he's not Hive.
Oh, that's a fair point. But this... Why is this guy in hold fire? Kill
I don't know. But I think... Well, okay, so first of all, they...
Shadow One's fucking canceled it. Sorry,
Okay.
go on.
Solar needs to, not just lose this game to a last building being sniped. He only has a couple... Well, I guess he has Spore Crawlers too. Those are all buildings, that is true. But that's like the one worry. I guess Hush worrying about that too a little bit. His Lings are now coming in. He needs to send like one Void Ray home. This cannon will cut it. And he could die to his buildings being killed. But if that isn't the solution for either party, then I think Solar might just be able to get some micro win here. But if it's going to be like him defending one base, one position, he has to take an engagement right then and there. No real, hit and run involved. I don't know if the Corruptors can do it.
He's got storms. They're going to be clumped up. Oh my god, there's
my
so
God.
much damage on top of the Corruptors. 2 storms from above. He's still looking to push in. He hits some of the Hydras with it too. The Void Rays are prismatically aligned. The Archons are pushing through. Solar, he's got to do something now, but another storm hits. The Archon blasts are good. The Corruptors are
Nope, that's
just
it.
disappearing. And that went from 30 to 2 real fast.
Holy shit. Well, that's what happened, isn't it?
Is that game?
But
Is that the
that,
last
you know-
building? What's left for Solar other than this? The spawning pool, the lurker deck, they're all bleeding out.
Yeah, he
Oh,
needs a couple of Void Rays back.
Does this count? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a race. It's actually a race now because Hush is out of buildings too. But I
That
think,
was probably Solar's only real hope after watching that play.
yeah. Oh, but tell me how
No, I
depressing
think,
that
like-
is, right?
He could have hit and run a bit more if there were more bases to defend.
By the
but
way,
he probably still would have died to the Archons.
right. So that's the thing. As much as I want to like make jokes and draw this back to the carriers that we had discussed before, this game was about the storms at the end. The most valuable thing in the game were those storms. On top of that, the Void Rays were the emphasis for most of this game, not the carriers. So even if I wanted to get into like a big balance wine discussion, man, GG's get called, and Hush takes game number 2.
Jesus.
Hey man, I like this though because this, again, Hush comes into this as the underdog for us. We kind of brush him off. He joined like a whatever foreign team. This is against like the super cool, super shiny Splice Solar. We expected like a 3-0-3-1. No, he comes back swinging in game 2. Thank you, by the way, to PSI or Psy Nalite. Donate $5 to the prize pool. $2,227 now, as if it wasn't big enough already. Thank you kindly, sir. We're going to go to a small commercial break. I need to run to the bathroom anyways, so we'll be back in 2 minutes with game number 3. We'll see you guys soon. All right, folks, we are back, and welcome. We are going to try to get into game number 3 really quick, but it turns out on top of our break that we needed, Hush needs one too. He's going to be a few moments. This is actually reminding me, I think, I want to say it was IEM, or maybe it was before in the last Korean Cup. I cast Hush recently, either with you or without you, but the point is, he did need a lot of these breaks. So this is actually not so surprising.
Was he the one? Because I remember another Korean.
Yeah, he needed like a 3-minute break after like every best of 3 and... I mean, it's not a problem. We don't mind accommodating. Like I said, this tournament's running a little bit longer than average, but that's totally fine because we've had absolutely fantastic games. I mean, we're still riding off of this incredibly hype prize pool. If he needs a couple of minutes to try and collect himself, I think he can have a couple of minutes to try and collect himself. Well, either way, this series has already not gone as expected, which is great for us. We love seeing the unexpected. Nothing is worse than sitting down to a predictable and boring StarCraft. But more to the point is, like, I can actually see if this is... balance wine moments aside for a second about composition, if Hush can get more of these games where he can safely get to that number of carriers or voiders or whatever he needs, then maybe he's got a chance to actually straight up win it. I mean, we went over the prize money earlier, and okay, a little bit more has been added on, but it's still the difference of like $1,000 between first and second place, 1,400 something for first place, and 300 and something dollars for second. There's a lot of money riding on this, and I hope Solar can really pull through.
Well, I think it's gonna be difficult for him to get the best maps for that. Of course, Solar gets to choose a couple of maps, assuming he loses. And we really do see the mass late game, because it wasn't carrier, it was just mass like Air Army on Vanai, and there's definitely one other map, but I can't think of it right now, because I don't think it's necessarily Overgrowth. Station? No. Echo? Echo. Yeah, Echo. Which is not it. This is Overgrowth. And Hush is finally ready.
Alright, so let's get going. Thank you for the cheers, Battle Dragon. Golden Armada! Of course, Virtual Remedy's got it stickied at the top of the stream right now. It says, you wanted to see it. The animated Kriegasm. Yo, the animated Kriegasm is great. But I'm just saying, like, if you guys want to get Rifkin a Christmas present, it's too much money. But... the 10,000-bit Kriegasm is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. But we'll hold out our hopes for another day on that one. We've actually had everybody hopefully stretch their pockets thin at this point. I don't want you guys throwing any more money anywhere. As again, thank you so much for making today's prize pool awesome. We are getting into... oh, stream title was never updated for this. Thank you guys for telling me now. Boop, 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 boop. Updated. We are getting into game number 3. Things are tied up 1 apiece. And playing for Dust Gaming in the top right side of the map, it's going to be the blue Protoss. Hush.
In bottom left.
Not so loud.
Hush. The red Zerg. He's Solar.
Nailed it. This is now an ASMR. I mean, this is now an ASMR stream. 10 out of 10. I know everyone jokes about trying to do an ASMR cast, or like they want streamers to do like more ASMR, but man, like whispering for more than 3 seconds is actually really difficult, especially when you're casting players you really love. Because like, how do you take a hype engagement and be like, oh my god, here he comes to the Bailey, it's gonna get his... like you can't keep it in.
You do that? Yeah. Well, the first time I cast in my apartment, I was like super cautious, and I was just like, I wasn't whispering,
like softly
but
spoken.
I really could not. Well, I just like I couldn't like really change the volume of my voice too much in case something really happened. Oh my god, it was like that, which is like kind of like whispering. I'd actually like in some like reverse effect, I would get quieter when I was supposed to get hyper because I just like I was like overcompensating.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the idea where it's like,
oh my god, the Banelings, look out! Oh no!
Holy crap.
I will say, on the opposite side of that real quick, before the builds take effect, I miss Vasacast sometimes. While I never understood what he was saying, you would tune into this like Italian caster, screaming his brains out, while playing like crazy epic music in the background. That guy was a real fun treat when it came to StarCraft 2 commentary.
Man, I only ever watched him once, but I appreciated the hype he gave the community.
Yeah. Well, for Hush, I mean, there's a lot to be said about that victory. We've already said it, and I think that it's clear if he can get to that point in the game, that's obviously going to be best for him. But getting that deep, getting that far, and taking on somebody like Solar is all quite the tall order. I think for Solar's sake, too, again, we keep referring to him because we're defaulting this to him, right? Oh, Zealot production. What's up, Skin Bug? Solar, for a lot of intents and purposes, should take this series. But most importantly, when we were talking earlier about Keen, Solar has played in tournaments we've been casting longer than any other Korean. Him and Hyun might be tied for like long-standing Koreans as far as like going all the way back to the Zotac Cups, playing Go for StarCrafts, always playing in our events. So for me, there's definitely bias to Solar because I would love to see this guy world champion. He's already got tons of money. He doesn't need money, but he's got base trade TV love.
Yes, he does. There's got a lot of people liking him now. Because of the personality out there, but we liked him first.
Actually, so you remember we were at BlizzCon at the after party, and Zombie Grub goes back to the hotel with everyone else to hang out in the lobby a little bit earlier. I went back with Solar and a couple others, and we're in the car with this guy who kind of knew a little bit about StarCraft, but he had no idea who Solar was type thing. Mm-hmm. So Solar's in the back, kind of like, you don't know that I'm SSL champ? Like, he's like so hurt by this.
I don't remember that.
No, you weren't there.
I remember going to the hotel, but...
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah. Solar's, he's really fun to do. I love him. I love him a lot. Anyways, enough about my extreme Solar bias aside. We got a pretty nice wall coming at Hush, kind of double layering it thick. This has become a lot more trending lately. He's also going for a lot more of a standard build. The Dark Shrine, the Warp Prism. I mean, we see Zest and all these other guys do it, so you know it's a good build.
Yeah, it's kind of the standard build, but I don't know if I like it as a standard build, not because it includes DTs, and I have like an extreme bias against DTs when I play, but just that it does seem like kind of... We've seen one too many games where it just really has just like fell flat in its face, where of course if 3 Nexus expand, or 3-gate Nexus expand was the standard, that, you know, has a little more give before it just completely fails. We've seen the Warp Prism snipe the DTs in it. We've seen the DTs, you know, trying suicide and not do anything, and well, it just doesn't lead to good things. So, well, most players, because we cast, you know, professionals, won't lose the DTs willy-nilly or the Warp Prism willy-nilly. It still happens, so I'm always a little bit worried.
I'm trying to get over the way you just said professional just now.
Professionals?
Professionals.
You ever heard that?
I did just now, and I'm going to use it for the rest of my life. Now, the DTs didn't get a lot done, so he's going to turn them into the Archons. Always, for me, this was like a bit of a cop-out. I feel like you do Archons when you've... Oh, did you pick this up by accident or on purpose? Anyways, I feel like you do Archons when you've kind of just given up. That was an accident by the looks of it. I think there's always room for a little bit of damage to DTs. And we've seen cool moves too. Some mind games out of players who will send the Warp Prism one way and make it look like that's who the DTs are, then just walk them in another. Giving up so early is a little bit sad to see out of Hush, but that being said, it's not a bad thing. Archons can still deal a ton of damage. And when you watch these things picked up, dropped, and dragged across the map, they look almost unbeatable.
Yeah. And this is where, you know, you really get to see the highlight plays of like the macro Protoss, even though they opened up with something like, you know, quote unquote as cheesy as a Dark Shrine. I mean, he's got the third base going, he's got the gas third base going, getting, you know, a good number of probes. He'll follow up with an attack eventually, but there's no like super fast gateway attack on the third of Solar that he just, you know, won't even expect or won't even be able to defend against. It's actually just a macro game here that could have gone terribly had he lost that Warp Prism. He was very cautious with it, though. I think we see most Protosses go to the third base, which is, you know, because they go to the third base is where all the Zerg have their defenses. Let's kind of get into that main base without really any worry about taking damage on his Warp Prism. Yeah. The Spire Hive combo comes down already. It's 7 minutes for Solar. So that'd be some pretty damn fast Broodlords. It actually seems to be a more and more common response to the eventual push, you know, as long as it's not the super fast one or crazy all in.
What's interesting about that, though, is I want to see what Snoot... Was this Snoot we got recently? He went Swarm Hosts to try and stop this sort of push?
He did, after unsuccessfully defending with Roaches?
Yeah, I think it was versus Showtime. I'm trying to remember the series precisely, but it was interesting because it looked good initially, and I think it's just the idea of the free units, but Swarm Hosts are a little bit harder to control. They derp a little bit more than Broodlords, but whether it's Broodlords, whether it's Swarm Hosts, it seems to be like just like throwing some freebies at this attack seems to be the best way to deal with it.
I know a game. It was like an Echo, right? Yeah, that was that almost looked decent. But there's a couple other variables, I suppose. I think Showtime was also maybe hitting a little bit sooner than Hush, who really isn't even attacking here. I mean, he's breaking down his walls to his 4th. He's going to take the gold, but he already has charge and a Stargate on the way. He's going to push while expanding.
But this is the point of the Lings. They want that army to come home. They want him to waste time attacking. The Lings actually flood in. This is then going to spend a lot of time. Hush has to spend cleaning up. He'll lose some probes for it. But for Solar, this isn't about anything other than keeping Hush at home. Getting time for the Greater Spire to finish up. Building those Broodlords out. And of course, on top of all of this, he scouts no fleet beacon, so he knows there's not going to already be Tempest waiting for him. His army in the air should be the best.
I do think that's what Hush was going for, though. He did scout the Hive and the Spire, so while he took a 4th base, there's not really usually a problem with taking a bit of map control, just as long as you're cautious and don't get like completely overwhelmed and surrounded. But yeah, the Lings did exactly what they meant to. So I think Hush is still prepared to go to the late game. Sucks that he really didn't get any pressure whatsoever on Solar and still is even taking damage probe-wise. But I think he was planning on going to that late game. Now with 12 probes down, it's like a little more questionable. Can he even get a good late game, even if he is prepared to go that path? I mean, this Greater Spire was seriously one of the fastest Greater Spires I've ever seen. And it's working, too, because other attempts at really fast Greater Spire have died to the Archon, Immortal, Stalker pushes, or Adept pushes. That can also happen following the DT opener. There's a lot of DTs open. 4 Archons. Well, this is probably going to be an anti-timing. I don't know. Sometimes Blink Stalkers are fine against Broodlords. They get like good position and there's enough of them. They can snipe them down really quick, but I don't know. The Broodlords are finishing right now.
I think if Solar keeps the Banelings back and uses them kind of like pseudo Widow Mines, protect from anything that would go underneath the Broodlords, that would have been amazing, but he throws so many away to the Adepts and the Sentries. He does kill them, but now he's got to keep those Broodlords alive. The Stalkers are not currently shooting them. This Transfuse is on the front line. Phoenixes are not going to cut it, and Hush is getting destroyed.
Yeah, I just don't know about that. Like, you really have to get a good position around the Broodlords to make Stalkers look viable. Sometimes it looks super viable, and you're like, holy crap, how did the Protoss win that? And sometimes you're just like, well, that's what I expected. The Broodlings, they collapsed into the Blink Stalkers. They couldn't get a good grasp underneath them, and it just looks like you look foolish for not waiting for Tempest, basically.
I think this game goes down to the fact, too, that like Hush either had to wait longer, for Tempest, or he waited too long and didn't get that early game aggression damage done, and hit before the Broodlords are out, hit before the Baneling numbers are unbeatable. This was a game that timing just played so badly for Hush in both directions. And I think for you, like, especially what you just said, like, waiting may have been the better option here.
I think so. I think after being dragged back with the Lings twice, 2.5, whatever you want to say, like, I think that was a little too brutal.
Yeah, those were great.
Well, he's going to try.
Out of Solar too, by the way. A lot of times you can just send units across the map. Actually drawing the army back home, that's challenging. Full surround, death imminent, Archon's dead, Stalker's blink, but doesn't matter. Even if he recalls here, Hush is recalling to a base that's under attack and already almost dead.
Yeah, definitely game. I mean, the good news is Hush loses this one, he'll have a map choice. Maybe he tries the Void Ray strategy again.
Oh yeah, this was Solar's map. I kind of forgot about that.
GG.
GG. Alright, so it took a little bit of time, but Solar does finally win out that game. And normally in a best of 3, this would be all over, but reminder, this is a best of 5 finals. So thank you guys for watching. I certainly hope you're enjoying the show. Stick around, we'll be back in a couple minutes with game number 4. Hey guys, we're back, and we're just going to hop directly into the load screen. So kind of a cool thing, we mentioned before, our buddy Golden was not here to cast today because he was going to IEM, and I guess he did some interviews while he was there, and most importantly did one with Stats. I have no idea if it's going to have an English translation or if it's any good, but Stats actually just gave a really great interview recently, so I'd definitely say check it out, to say the least. But also, would love to give a big thank you to Dova Kitten 169. They donated $5 to the prize pool on top of the already insane prize pool. Everyone wants to be a part of this history, right? $2,232 grand total for the prize pool so far today. Really excited to pay these players out and give them a lot of cash. It'd be good for Christmas, too. But spawning here in the upper left side is going to be the Red Zerg player. It's Dust Korea's Hush.
The bottom right, as the blue Zerg, he is Splice Solar.
Yeah, leads the series now 2-1. He only needs to win this game. Again, the difference in money between first and second place is a little over $1,000. So quite a bit on the line for Solar to lock this down. It's a little unfortunate because our percentage scaling definitely was not meant to compensate for you guys donating literally thousands of dollars. I would normally love to spread this out a little bit more and give some more love to more folks, but we're going to keep it as is. It's the way we set it up. It was intended to be focused around like, you know, $100 to $300 prize pools, but screw it. Somebody here is going to get a massive payout. And so far, it's leaning towards Solar. But
yes, it is.
Before we get into that, too far ahead of ourselves, this is a map picked by Hush, and probably because this is another map where you can kind of turtle around 3 bases and get to that possible Golden Armada status, to get to the Void Rays and the Carriers and the Storms and everything you want to make your Protoss dreams come true.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to bring up. Is that didn't surprise me when Hush just immediately said Echo after losing the last game, because I think he is going to try and do something that may or may not be unbeatable. I do think Solar might have a better response or faster response to this now that he knows that he's capable of it, I suppose. Like, Van Eye would have been a suspicious map, but then you confirm, like, oh, okay, they will go Mass Void Ray, too, specifically, not Mass Carrier. So Solar might have a different response in mind. It would be tricky if Hush to not go it at all, but I don't think that's his plan. And Solar, well, if he is going to go for that, then Solar, it's kind of up to him to respond correctly. We do have a Twilight Council, though, so not the super quick Stargate Phoenix into Void Ray Carrier.
It still might be the Dark Templar. I mean, it kind of... whatever that last game. I don't have strong positive feelings in him doing that if that's the case. But if it is for the Dark Templar, if it is for the Warp Prism, if he's going to try and replicate the moves, well, the robo's too late, so never mind. The end. See you guys tomorrow.
Bye. Okay. Well, Solar's going to be able to really get a good scout in this. You know, the Overlord Speed finishing up. It's going to be Resonant Glaives.
I like this a lot more, but I don't feel like this is exactly complementing what the map possibly opens for him. Like, if you're aiming for Adepts of any dedication early on, you're not going to have the money for those air units later.
Well, okay. So I did say that it would have been tricky for Hush to go for like an all-in or the DT build or whatever, not mass air, on a map that you would figure pros would choose for that. Not that's 100%. It's just like, you know, they showed it once, maybe they rely on it type deal. But now that he was completely scouted, it either changed his mind or we were just completely wrong. There's only 3 gateways are added, and then he just starts adding on gas just now. And double Stargate.
Evidently, I introduced Hush as a Zerg player. That's my bad, guys. This tournament has left me quite a bit hungry. Oh. And the fact that I have to start at 3 a.m. leaves my brain always frazzled around now, and usually we're finished by now. So my bad. Thank you to Megadosk for the new sub, making up for my little mistake there. Thank you so much.
So the other thing I was gonna, like, you know, again, there are a couple possibilities, but it is going to be a bit of a Resident, like a very small, like not super scary Resident Glaives Adept attack into double Stargate with some fairly quick air upgrades too. I was gonna say, like, you can still open up with something besides Stargate and get to Stargate eventually. There's, you know, just there's different options. So, I mean, provided this doesn't literally just get slammed in the face, pushed back, and Hush has nothing, it should buy enough time for him to get to a safe amount of Phoenixes. Third base is I think, okay to take. Even if the Adepts don't really scare Solar a lot, I'm not sure Solar's really going to want to push out, knowing they're on the field. But if he kills them, that might be a different issue. I don't know. I think that many Lings and Roaches could just deny the third base for a little while. It's always a question, though, of if Solar's even going to try.
I mean, with the air army coming out of Hush, Solar has to be a little bit worried once he realizes, like, what the situation may be. As you said, it might not be Void Rays, it might not be Carriers. Maybe he's just got Mass Phoenix, but either way, Stargate production is always so frustrating to deal with for Zerg.
I definitely think he'll be going into either Void Ray or Carrier after a certain number of Phoenix. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, okay, you could try and deny that third base for a little while, but there's a chance they'll get to 6 or 8 Phoenixes and you'll just lose the army for it. It's always a question of, is that worth it? Plus, if they have enough post and overcharges, it really isn't. You don't have that many units early on, but Solar just keeps him at home. He's going to deal with any further Adept run-ins. Does he know about the pylon? No, so okay. I mean, you don't see a Warp Prism by now. It's not a Warp Prism, but still. Even slow Warp-ins can get some damage done. And he's just going to go to Hydras. The question is, can he bust any more effectively than on that Van Eyck game?
But this is what's awkward too. So when you go for Hydras, right, you'll notice the way Solar is going to be rallying his stuff around. He's no longer rallying them all to the middle. He's trying to rally them to each of his Spore Crawlers. He doesn't want them running around and getting picked off by these Phoenix. And that's exactly what Hush wants and Hush needs. So like 2 Hydras like this misrallied, that's free prey. Another one like this, that's a mistake. He should be sitting around those Spore Crawlers and just waiting until he has enough. Otherwise, these are so expensive to lose like this.
Yeah. A little bit questionable. Hush realizes there's more popping out. But it looks like there's enough Hydras. Almost made a mistake again. There's enough Hydras to now scare away the Phoenix army. There's also just going to be so many Hydras. There's going to be a decent amount of fodder with the Roachlings that are left over. And they're all going to be upgraded. So I think Solar could just start kind of starting to push out soon. Provided he just doesn't rally too many Hydras alone so the Phoenixes can pick them off. Hush's numbers are growing. Embroidery numbers. He's going to get cannons down. Of course, he still has Adept Withering Glaives.
Yeah, with the this is why this map is so good for it. You really get this joint defense point between 2 bases. You take a look at maps like Whirlwind, it's like the exact opposite. Even though the base layouts are kind of the same, everything funnels here really nicely for the defense. So for Hush, low amounts of Void Rays wouldn't normally split too well, but he's not going to have to split. However, man, this attack force is scary. That's a lot of Ravages and Corrosive Biles. Pylon's going to get picked off so quickly. Well, if you were to aim.
The downside of Echo, though, is that you can't abuse one of your ramps defensively. If you choose one ramp to go up and stay on, the other ramp is the one that's, like, pressured and pushed into. So you're going to lose Seminix Core over there, or you're going to, like, you know, not be able to defend them, break down the rocks on the third base. It can actually be a little bit tricky. If the middle point is super well defended, then yeah, it's really good. But as you can see, Hush just doesn't have confidence defending that point and kind of come in from 2 ramps down. There's 7 borders out here in the Phoenix too, actually. That might be the real kicker.
These liftoffs on the backside are so good. Even if they don't kill a lot, they're removing the equation of things that could possibly kill those Void Rays. But Hush's army is still dying. 34 army supply left, and it's really only 1 Void Ray. These Phoenixes are out of juice.
Yeah. Alright, so Hydra's attack. The Hydra attack worked a lot better than on Van Eyck. And actually probably will end the game here. 3 more Void Rays about to come out. 2 more Void Rays about to come out as one is depowered.
I mean,
I think Solar has enough Hydra reinforcements.
I love that the Zealots were buying time there. Just a little bit more. Corrosive Biles, they got one of those oh so precious Void Rays, but with all the Stargates depowered, I think that's the hopes and dreams of Hush fleeting.
The 1 Void Ray micro.
Do you smell
Best
that?
micro in the world. What?
That's his goose getting cooked.
Oh, he uses that for
Fire bats, actually.
Oh, some things are like 17 years old.
My goose is getting cooked. No, like literally, even now, fire bats say that.
Oh, no one plays the. Oh, shut up.
No, but it's a campaign. Fine. How about co-op, huh?
That's what I was gonna say too. But then I was like, you know what?
We play co-op all the time.
I never make Hellbats. You never make Hellbats. You never play Rainer.
Well, what do Hellbats have to do with fire bats?
Fuck. You got me.
Checkmate.
Got it.
Actually, I don't know. Have you played Stukov yet? You haven't played Stukov yet, right?
Correct.
So we could probably finish up the stream with 1 co-op game. Okay, Phoenix is lifting up these Hydras. Overlord's being rallied. It's kind of silly at this point. Solar has, without a doubt, won this game, won this tournament. Hush put up a great fight, though, and the fact that he took a game off of Solar was surprising enough to me in the first place. This was really awesome, though. We had so many good games today. You know, we got to watch some Zest earlier today. That was a treat. Solar winning the finals is awesome because, again, this guy's been playing in every event we've been casting pretty much since base trade TV started. He was one of the first guys to really come out to play in foreign events too. So again, big love to Solar. Absolutely glad he won this. He's dancing. Oh man, I forgot how he just had the Thriller dance.
You're right.
Thriller. Okay, well that's gonna be
Oh, hush.
Hush doesn't want to go to.
Hush.
He's got zero
Hush,
APM.
little
Like
baby.
his hands are like off the keyboard. Literally, he's not doing anything right now. He's got nothing he can do. Just wait around the cannons and hope for the
Like,
best.
damn.
I like that
I
he's.
only won like, triple the prize pool originally.
This is the equivalent of like Terran floating buildings, right? Like, come to me, let me use these overcharges. But no, that's it. That's the series. Congratulations to Solar as he locks down first place prize, something like $1,400.
Nice.
Very nice. Of course, Hush is not gonna get too bad of a payout. He still gets like 350 or something along those lines for second place. And of course, we had already contacted Sue and others to try and get their PayPals and whatever information. But what a fantastic day. What a great tournament. Thank you guys for helping us make Korea great again. We have one more of these left in the month. And then hopefully after that fourth one, we'll have paperwork signed so we can announce the awesomeness that is going to be 2017. Because while I can't tell you guys who or what, I can say we're going to be continuing this content into 2017. As long as players are willing to come out and play, we are going to have the funds, thanks to a new sponsor, to make sure that they're paid well for it. But once again, thank you guys for joining us on the cast today. We don't actually have a lot to advertise. The Yord Woodwatch sale is still going on. 10% off until Christmas. If you want to find some cool gifts, check out woodwatches.com/base. 15% of your purchase from the 10% you save will go towards more esports stuff, which is always awesome too. So make sure to go to woodwatches.com/base. Other than that, check out Corsair stuff. We got some real big Corsair announcements coming too. I cannot wait. But again, that's the thing that sucks about contracts. You have to wait till everyone's signed dotted lines before you can announce things. So just know there's really good stuff coming, guys. We're going to go to the one last commercial break. Then we will say our personal goodbyes, and we'll see you soon. Actually, before we do you want to do one? Come on, one co-op game summary. Just one. One.
I'm super tired and my throat hurts and the internet's lagging.